Hey everyone, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel and another video. It's that time, the very much promised, probably in the last 6 weeks I think it was, and I've got to say this is the third time that I've actually tried to record this video. Of course what I'm talking about is a more in-depth review of the Trek Checkpoint, and this feels pretty well timed in the sense that Trek has just announced a sort of parting of the ways in terms of their gravel bike model. So they've just released the Checkmate, which is kind of framed as a race gravel bike, and then at the same time as doing that they've then kind of relaxed the Trek Checkpoint. So that's now into its third generation. At the time of recording there's only carbon options, so this is still the sort of latest gen really when it comes to the alloy versions. Pretty sure they will release something, probably just a matter of time. And as far as I can tell really, they've made the Checkmate, because it's the race bike, lighter, stiffer, all that good stuff, as every manufacturer out there always does with every single race bike. And then the Checkpoint, they're now basically making the sort of all-day, go-anywhere adventure bike really, so a more relaxed geometry. And I guess the Gen 2 is probably somewhere in between the two. I did a sort of initial rolling out of the box type video probably about 4 or 5 weeks ago, whilst everything was stock, with the one exception, had put bottle cages on it. And it was really just kind of talking through the ALR5 spec and kind of what comes with the bike. Now during that video I did sort of call out 1 or 2 things that I was probably going to change, and in true fashion I did. But having said that, you know, they're pretty personal things to me, which I'll talk you through in a second, but really just give you a bit of a flavour. I'm talking about things like bar width, where I do prefer a narrower bar as opposed to the pretty wide ones that came on there. Nothing really wrong with the sort of stock equipment as far as I could tell. I did do a very short ride on it, and it was really on the back of that ride that I decided, yeah, I did need to change 1 or 2 things out, but I'll get into that in just a second. So before I do start talking you through the bike, it's probably worth saying that I completed a couple of sort of shorter rides, so less than 20 miles. I've done 1 or 2 very short, quick trips to the shop, just when it's easier than having to park the car up, pick up a loaf of bread, bottle of milk, that kind of thing. They're normally sort of a couple of miles here and there. And then most recently, and this is where I actually tried to record this video to start off with, but I was going to say it was gale force winds, probably wasn't far off gale force winds that day, which was sort of throughout a just shy of 60-mile ride. So I think all told I've probably had somewhere around 10 hours, 12 hours, something like that. So now feels like the right time really to do a quick check on the bike in terms of the things that I've changed, and also my first impressions. So probably I'm going to start with the things that I decided to change. So first off, the wheels. I should say this is only temporary. So actually these wheels are taken from my time trial bike. And these are the wheels that came with that bike, which is a Orbea Ordu. And these are Vision something or other SC, and I think they're either 50 or 55 mil. I have used them as training wheels on a time trial bike a little bit. I absolutely hate them. The reason why they're on this bike now is because the tyres that came with this bike actually seem okay to me. But as you'll see from the ride footage, sort of some of the areas that I'm riding, at the moment they're okay, but in the winter they can get quite boggy. And so I went for these, which are the Schwalbe G1 Ultra Bikes. Actually, some of the footage that I'm intending to kind of throw in this, the ride footage that is along a canal where a few years ago, when I was out on my Specialized Diverge and riding some very much shall we say, less aggressive tread pattern tyres, I actually ended up in the water. So that's my primary reason for buying these. They're 40mm. I'll do something completely separate on these at some point in the near future, but yeah, for now just kind of wanted to explain why these wheels are on rather than the stock wheels, and then also these tyres. And really my main reason for doing that is I am going to switch back to the stock wheels at some point, probably for a few weeks, just so I can talk around those in the next upload. If it only feels right to kind of use them, but what I didn't want to do, because those tyres are set up tubeless at the moment, I didn't want to go through the faff of removing them, kind of clean them up with all the sealant, etc, etc. So this way I should only have to do that once. So that's kind of my thinking. So I'm not going to talk too much around the wheels, other than to say, yeah, they're harsh as hell on the road. So you get them on gravel trails or kind of anything off-road, and yeah, they're not much better. Thank God for low tyre pressures. So then starting at the rear, the saddle actually that came with this bike, I think was 143mm or 145mm, something like that. I've generally always ridden something kind of between a 152 and a 155. So I had this, which is a Specialized Phenom. It is sort of billed as a off-road saddle. Had one of these on my Divergent, got on with it. It's pretty nondescript really. But one of the things that I do like is I can use this swap mount, you can see here, which then means I get a nice clean kind of mounting point then for the Garmin Lite or a GoPro or whatever it is that I kind of want to mount on there. Very rarely use a saddlebag, so it doesn't really matter. And then the other thing that I swapped out, and really the reason for doing this was because I was placing an order for the bars, but I had like flexi post, so on my Diverge, which was actually one of the cobble gobblers. I think it was called the CGR seat post from Specialized. Basically it has like an elastomer type insert in here, the Specialized version does. The way this works is there's basically a that you can't see, that's at the bottom of the seat post somewhere around here. It's basically a bolt that holds these two pieces of carbon together, and then the idea being is that you get a little bit of flex sort of fore and aft out of this, which is obviously designed just to make things a touch more comfortable. It's unbranded, but for any sort of gravel experts or people that are into their canyon bikes, then you'll recognize it. There's a company called Ergon make these, and they supply a lot of sort of standard equipment on canyon bikes. So fortunately this one's unbranded. So yeah, I don't look like I'm mixing parts up, shall we say. And then moving around to the front, these are the bars that I decided to go for. And the reason I went for these is actually because my bike fitter decided to get some of these to put onto his gravel bike. So they're pretty shallow. I should probably say these are 38mm wide. The tops, despite having this, which I guess normally is sort of designed for aerodynamics, actually quite comfortable, quite large there in order for you to get your hands on the tops. There's a small amount of flare, which hopefully comes out here. And actually as a result, these are pretty good for on the flat, but really nice when it comes to descending, where you just feel like you've got a touch more control. So yeah, mostly the reason I went for these is actually because of the width, and also for anybody who watched the first video, I did say that I wanted to try and keep this as sort of low cost as I possibly could. I managed to pick the bike up at a very good price, and then I think between the bars, the seat post, and what else did I buy? Also the power meter as well, which I'll show you in a second. I think all in probably came in somewhere around about the 230 to 250 mark, which is not too bad, because obviously the largest sort of price, or the highest value I should say, of each of those three items was the power meter. But who knew, post-Brexit, it's cheaper to buy certain parts from Spain or AliExpress than what it is here in the UK. Just before I spin the bike round, I will talk around kind of first impressions, group set, all that good stuff. I am actually pleasantly surprised. This one by setup, I mean, I really like this. It has taken a little bit of getting used to. I did mention in my first video that I'm used to and have been riding Di2 for quite some time. So switching back to, you know, mechanical and double tap as well at that, has taken a little bit of getting used to. The spread of the gears is actually really good. I will throw in some footage from some pretty steep off-road climbs that I did during that 60-mile ride, just so you can see what I'm kind of talking about. But from memory, the cassette's an 1144, and then up front we've got a 40 tooth chainring. So nice spread of gears, and yeah, I was just able to sort of spin up those climbs really, which was very nice. I think when it comes to riding on the flats or even, you know, going downhill, so descending at speed, I have found that I quickly run out of gears, and then riding on the flats, I've not quite or always found that I'm necessarily at my normal cadence. I normally ride somewhere sort of in the high 80s, even the low 90s. And with this, in terms of making any progress, just simply because of the gaps between the gears, I find that I'm kind of in the low to mid 80s. But hey, not too bad. At least the legs are getting a different kind of workout rather than the heart and the lungs. So I think, yeah, otherwise 10 to 12 hours, I'm very impressed with this. I'm pleased that I bought it. It's nice to get off-road again. There's not anything that I've come across so far that I'm kind of regretting, or anything further actually that I'm thinking, yeah, I need to change that out. I guess the main contact points kind of are what they are. Still really like the colour, and definitely think with these kind of, what do you call them, tan wool tyres, amber wool tyres, I think, yeah, finished it off quite nicely. These wheels, I'm undecided. I kind of look sometimes and think they look ridiculous, and other times actually I think they don't look too bad. That's probably just me getting used to it though, to be fair. So, power meter. I wasn't going to fit a power meter to this, but then I came across these. Some of you guys may already be more than familiar with them, but me having not rode SRAM for maybe 12 years, possibly even, no, it probably is 12 years, and it was a rival group set that I had on funnily enough, my first road bike. So anyway, came across this, which is a left side only, but in the interest of keeping this build and this bike cost down to a minimum, I thought this was a no-brainer, to be honest. What I had actually kind of toyed with the idea of, or I should say, the first search that I was doing on Google, I was actually seeing whether or not Stages or similar made a left arm only option, and then yeah, came across this from SRAM, so it was nice and easy to fit. As I say, it is left side only, but you know, for the purposes of this really and what this bike's going to be used for, it was absolutely spot on. And I think here in the UK they were retailing around about $230, but I actually managed to get that from a company in Spain for £165 with free shipping, and that also included any duty and tax, so it was an absolute no-brainer. Okay, so I think that'll do for now. This is going to take some editing because I appreciate I've waffled in a few parts, and I'm also quite keen to sort of mix in some ride footage as well. And there is another plane just about to take off. I swear, if I ever want to go anywhere, I can never get a flight from the local airport, but yet the minute I try and record anything, it's like Heathrow. Anyway, there we go. So next plan for this is, and we're now sort of fast approaching the end of August, I've got a couple of time trial races left, hopefully go okay in those, and then I'm probably just going to sort of wind things down, and I can see that at some point, maybe when the weather, when the temperature drops off a little bit, I'll probably then make a transition from using this bike sort of once every couple of weeks to pretty much every time that I go out on it, because I hate my winter road bike. So in that regard, yeah, this bike's going to see quite a bit of use over the next few months, and I think what my plan is probably do something as a follow-up in maybe another 4 to 6 weeks time, something like that, and just see if there's kind of anything else really to call out. As I've already said, at the minute I'm really pleased. I'm still toying with the idea of getting a top tube bag, just because, well, it's gravel, and even one of my friends has just bought one of these, and I noticed on his very first ride he'd already got a top tube bag, so feeling a bit left out at the moment, so I've not even got a saddle bag. Still definitely a roadie, filling the pockets up. So any comments or questions, please do drop them in the section below. Big thumbs up if you like the video, and subscribe if you would like to see more.